Welcome to Movie Nerds by Killshot, a weekly podcast dedicated to cinema, TV shows, original soundtracks, new releases, behind the scenes, and much more. Tune in every Monday, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, for new episodes and even see behind the scenes of our podcast. Follow us on social media at Movie Nerds 47 on Twitter. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions you want us to answer on our next podcast. Oh, and while you're at it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help us out a lot. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 3 of Movie Nerds by me, Killshot. Hi guys. So today we have a very special guest, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself. So his name is TheTrueDarkNight.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hi, what's going on?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing fine, but thank you for having me. I love the idea of doing a podcast. I've been wanting to do one for a while now. Honestly, though, this guy is super cool. Please go follow him on all social media and whatnot. He's such a chill guy. He's a really nice guy. I love this guy. But today, we're going to be talking about my career. Yeah. As a voice actor. So let me track this from one, actually. Let me think. Growing up, I've always been a guy that loves doing impressions. I've always loved the idea of impressions. I've been doing it my whole life. To this day, I still do the hurdy, whiz and boomstick voices from, Screw Attack Death Battle. And somehow I can pull those off like nothing. And then there's, of course, that time when I was around, I want to say 2012, when my agent called me and she's just like, yo, I got something that you're going to love. And I'm like, not another child fucking trailer, please. And then she went on and she just was like, no, it's something way more special. And then I'm like, okay, fine. Why not? So I go to the audition. And it turns out it actually wasn't an audition. It was kind of like a formality in a sense. So I'm in the booth, right? I don't know what I'm going for here. And the voice director, I kind of recognize her voice. And I'm like, aren't you Andrea Romano? And she just looked at me and she's just like, honey, I am. And I'm like, what? If you don't know, Andrea Romano is notoriously known for being one of the greatest voice directors of all time. She is the definition of the language between writers to voice actors. Because some of the time, or most of the time, writers don't know how to express themselves to voice actors. Hence why she is in the picture. So she's the very middle person that can correlate that language to writer to voice actor, which is the coolest thing ever, if you think about it. And so she, I look at the script, right? I'm thinking to myself, this is a really weird script. And she's just like, well, try your best, honey. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm so scared. Now I am put on the spot by one of the greatest voice directors of all time, right? I don't know what to do. I'm shaking. My fucking voice agent is just like, go, do it. I believe in you. I'm like, sake. Oh, God damn it. And so my best friend at the time, actually, I still know him to this day. I call him Wiz. He calls me Boomstick. You think we're getting away? But, I've just been doing this on and off throughout the course of my life. But here's the crazier part of this story. And Wiz says to me, you should go audition for voice acting at some point. I'm like, okay, why not? So I'm here now. And I don't know what to do. And then some guy walks in. And I can't see his face all that well. But I'm just like, okay, so I'm looking the script. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to read. I'm literally shaking. And I hear over the intercom, Andrea just say, yeah, this kid is nervous out of his mind. And so I kind of hear a really, really, I I know that voice. I don't know whose voice it is, but I'm just like, who the hell's voice is that? And so he's just like, give me a moment. Let me rustle him up a little. He's like, all right, cool. And so this guy opens the door to the voice booth, right? He walks in. I almost fucking pass out the moment I make eye contact with him. And it's none other than Batman is himself, Kevin fucking Conroy. And I kind of like, what? And I don't know what to say. I'm just like, Kevin, are you real? And he looks at me, he's just like, I'm as real as God, kid. I kind of just went over to him, the 12-year-old me, just wrapped my arms around him, crying, you are my childhood. And he just kind of maniacally laughs. Thanks, kid. Now it's time to get to work. Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know what I'm doing, Kev. And he's just like, well, let me help you with that. I'm sitting in a booth with the greatest Batman of all time, Andrea Romano, the woman that directed her way back in the early 90s. And then Bruce Timm and Paul Dini walk in, the original writers for the Batman animated TV show. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And so I'm thinking at this point, this is so weird. This is so strange. And so Kevin says to me, looks me in the eyes, and he's like, I need you to do me the biggest favor. I'm like, yes, sir. What is it? And he's just like, can you do the 3 lines of Batman? I'm like, 3 lines. Oh, yes. Those lines. He's just like, yeah. Do those, kiddo. And I'm like, in my Batman voice, how else would you say it? And I'm like, oh, God. My Batman voice is really shitty, Kevin. He's like, go right ahead. Do you want me to help you with this? Do you want to hear me say it first? I'm like, yes. And so he goes, all right. Don't pass out on me. I'm like, okay, fine. And then he goes, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. I almost passed out. I almost fucking passed out. I felt dizzy as shit. I felt like I was in the middle of a miracle moment without a question. And so, at this point, I don't know what to do. I am left with the huge reality of now having to do Batman in front of Batman. And I have no idea how to give it back to him. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. And then I do it. And then he looks at me. He's just like, where are you from? That one place. Right. He looks over at Andrea right outside the booth. I like this kid. And I'm just like, oh, Kevin Conroy likes my Batman. What the fuck? And so then Mark walks in. Yes, Mark fucking Hamill walks in. And he's just like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm like, what the fuck? Is that? Batman looks at me, he's just like, that's Luke Skywalker. I no shit, Sherlock. What is he doing here? And so he's just like, yeah, long story short, he wanted to hear your Joker voice. And I'm just like, I don't even have a fucking Joker voice. And I gotta figure it out soon. And I'm like, fuck you, Kevin. Why? So he walks out. Mark walks in, they exchange a little bit. Mark and Kevin, they exchange, and then Mark walks in, right? And then he's just like, now, kid, don't freak out. I'm like, yeah. I don't know what to do. Fucking Star Wars is sitting in front of me. What do I do? Oh my God. So anyways, at this point, I am on the verge of tears, of absolute joy. First, it's Batman. How do you top Batman? And then Luke Skywalker walks in. This doesn't make any sense. So then he's just like, all right, kid, let's track this from one, right? He hands me his original script of the Batman animated show. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I look in the date, and it's like 1992, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong about the date. I don't know. I was hyperventilating. I couldn't take everything in at the moment. So there's some shit that was blurry, of course. But at this point, he says to me, all right, I need you to do section blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I'm like, in my Batman voice? No, in your Joker voice, kid. I'm like, oh, God, no. I don't have a Joker voice. He's just like, well, you better figure it out, kid. Mark, don't stop talking, please. And he just looks at me just like, oh, come on, kiddo. Well, you gotta rustle up a little bit and calm down. Mark. You need to calm the hell down, all right? We don't need any of this on the ambience, all right? And he's like, oh, whatever. So I'm sitting here, right? And I don't know what to do at all. And then one thing leads to another. He's like, all right, kid. Now it's your turn. And then I'm sitting here trying to read the script. I'm shaking as I'm holding the script, of course. And I'm like, okay. And then I go off. I just go off. Oh, Patsy. Oh, come on. You knew this was gonna happen eventually. After all, we're slowly losing our minds. And so Mark looks at me. He gives me the look of confirmation, like, all right. This guy's got it going on. Okay. He walks out, and I don't know what to think of what the fuck just happened with my life 5 seconds ago. And I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, my heart felt like it fell out of my body. My soul has already left my body, and my brain has dropped down to my chest with stupidity. So I don't know what to do. I'm just in the booth, just fucking shaking, hoping I get the part, which I don't know if I did or not at that point. And Andrea's just like, all right, we're going to send another voiceover actress into your booth and see how it goes from there. Wait, what the fuck? What do you mean another voice actor? And then Tara Strong walks in. Now, if you don't know who Tara Strong is, go ahead and look her IMDb up. She is probably your childhood, and you don't even fucking know it. I know she was mine. Barely Our Parents is Timmy Turner, my guy. And then, of course, she was Raven in Teen Titans Go. She was Ben 10. She was the original Ben 10. It's so crazy. And so I actually personally know Tara. So I'm like, oh, hi, Tara. And she looks at me in the booth. She's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, that bitch called me. I point over at my fucking voice agent, and she just fucking flips me off. And I'm just like, love you too. So yeah, I have a really good connection with people when I, meet people. They're just some of the nicest people they ever meet. And most importantly, you gotta have a good backbone structure when you're in the world of voice acting, because it fucking tanks on your soul after 9 hours of just going take after take after take after take. But, if you're really good with that voice, it won't die. So whenever I'm doing my Batman voice, it's more of knowing how to use my diaphragm. Not my vocal cords, my diaphragm. So from there, you just have to elongate it somehow and make it stretch for a really long time. But at the same time, you have to make it sound as authentic as possible. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything done of the day. So yeah, Tara walks into the booth and she's just like, so tell me the story, would you? And I'm like, okay. And then I tell her what just happened. And she's just like, you're scared, aren't you? I'm fucking horrified, Tara. And so she walks over closer to me and she's like, all right, kiddo, listen to this. I'm like, okay. Can you do Harley Quinn? And I'm just like, I don't think I can. Mind you, 5 years prior, I did Hentai Haven for 5 years. So that was the funniest part, right? And I'm just like, I could try. And she's like, okay, well, and then she does her Harley Quinn voice, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can ever do that, but like, I don't think I can. And she's like, just try it. I'm like, okay, it's gonna sound horrible, but okay. I'm gonna down some water for this one because tanks on your vocal cords doing a high pitched voice. All right. So then she says, you know, this. Hi, Mr. J. It's terrible, I know, but it somehow works. And I have no idea how I do it at all. And in Hentai Haven, I was never cast one time as the male voice actor, which means I was the female voice all the time. Just hearing, Onicha. If you've probably watched Hentai Haven, you've probably nutted to the sound of my voice. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking. And so I'm just like, Tara, okay, sure. And so I try it. Apparently I got it. She said I got it, but I don't believe I got it whatsoever. You know, saying, Mr. J. Oh, shut the hell up, Holly. You know, having the ability to go back and forth with all these voices is the coolest thing. Because, you know, once you've mastered all of these voices, you can just tank all of them at once. And sometimes I go in the booth and just like do 20 voices at once, which is the fucking best. And everybody calls me a crazy person because you should be going back and forth with other people. I'm like, I actually like to do it myself. And they're like, okay. And I usually do everything in one take. And there's, of course, I'm going to mess up. So I have to restart, which is a fucking pain in the ass. But once you do everything in one take, they can just put it into the fucking whatever they're doing, whatever shit that you've been doing or working on. They can just put it in and it works perfectly. And so, finally, this is the part of the story that a lot of people don't believe. So I'm trying to make it sound as realistic as possible. Not to mention the whole other part of the story doesn't sound real at all, but it is. But anyways, I am sitting in the booth still with Tara, and Tara's just like, all right, kiddo, I'm gonna be right back. And I'm like, okay. I'm at ease now that Tara's here because I actually know somebody there. And they're the two walk in. Nolan North and Troy Baker walk in. And Nolan North, if you don't know, he was Nathan Drake. He is Nathan Drake on Uncharted, which is crazy because you hear his voice and that's his voice. It's the craziest thing. He walks in, he's like, ugh. All right, Troy, let's go make a kid scared for his mind, shall we? Just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And I don't know what to do either. For this point, they walk in, they're like, what's up, kid? And Troy's just like, hey, the fuck? What are you two doing here? And I've actually worked with them before, prior to on Uncharted 4. And I might have worked on them Uncharted 4 after. I don't know what the timeline is at all because this happened so long ago. So I just don't know at all.
What did you do on Uncharted 4?
That's just it. I don't know when I did it. I lose track of time like easily. But I did do a lot of motion capture for Nolan North because at one point, I think in Uncharted 2 or 3, when he was doing the iconic whatever, the train over the edge scene, he broke a few of his ribs doing it. And ever since then, he's been kind of, physically unable to do a lot of the things. So that's when I would go in and be his body double. And half of the time I would actually be doing his lines, weirdly. And so Nolan is on the outside of the, the 20 by 10 area that we have, and there's just this whole fucking wall of sensors and the actual cameraman to the end, and then you have the freehand cameraman that's walking around behind us. They can't be registered because they don't have the suits on, so they can just walk around freely, which is the craziest thing. And at some point, there's dots all over our faces. We have a fucking microphone gimbal that has a camera at our fucking front of our faces. And we have the microphones on our foreheads, which makes apparently the best fucking sound quality. All they have to do is go in and clean it up. And then it's like the highest sound quality you'll ever hear. And I'm like, what the fuck? How does that even work? And so at that point, there was a lot of physical fucking labor I had to go and put into Nathan Drake. Yeah, I did Nathan Drake, people. I did Nathan Drake. It was so much fucking fun. And at this point, I have no idea what I'm doing in the whole Uncharted universe. But it was so much fun to like sit down with actual champions. And funny enough, in reality, Elena and Nathan are actually married in real life. And their kids voice the younger versions of Sam and Nathan, which is the craziest fucking thing. When in doubt, when you can't figure something out, let the North family figure it out for you. It's the fucking best. Because they're fucking rock stars. And Nolan North is known to be one of the greatest voice actors of all time. And I think it's pretty much true because of his audacity to climb high-scale buildings in a fucking 20 by 10 area. But the way how he does it is fucking crazy. But the way how he moves around is Nathan Drake. He is Nathan Drake. It's fucking crazy. And at some point, he had so much physical strength that he didn't need the fucking climbing gear anymore. So he just went and did it. And people are just like, okay, sure. We don't care as long as he doesn't break anything. And I think that was Uncharted in the middle of Uncharted 4, where he's just like, I've been working out, people. I think I can handle this without the climbing gear. He literally brushed the climbing gear guy off. He's like, okay, whatever you say. If you want to fail, then go ahead. And they purposely put more pads, like 20 inches of, no, not 20, it's like 3 feet of pure pad. So if he fell, nothing would happen. So they had to put that for me because I was so nervous. I didn't trust my body when I first tried it. So when I like threw my body up and I grabbed it, I was like, what the fuck? This is easy as shit. And I went at it. I'm like, okay, you gotta keep going. You gotta sound like Nate out of breath every other 5 seconds. Because, climbing takes a lot out of you. And I understand that better than anybody at this point. And so at that point, I kept going. And I didn't realize where a ledge was. And I grabbed a piece of wood instead, and it broke. And I like grabbed on with my left hand, and I'm like, ugh! And I overextended my arm, but somehow I was able to get myself back up. And I'm like, ugh, crap, that hurt. And I was still in the character, and so they're just like, we can use that. That is fucking awesome. And so they purposely placed faulty fucking wood later on that day, and because they were going to have a scene later on, because there's multiple scenes where in the game where Nate grabs something and it just breaks and he slips down or falls off a little bit of a ledge, and it's really cool, but it's very unethical how they actually perform that. And I've actually seen Nolan do it firsthand. He's just like, all right, kid, let me show you how it's done. I'm like, oh, yeah. No, you're the world's leading authority on Nathan Drake. I'm never going to take that away from you. And he's just like, oh, stop being generous, kid. I'm like, but you are. Just the fuck? Is there somebody else that's more of a leading enthusiast than you? Yeah, Troy, why? Huh? Oh, fuck. Wait. I don't understand this comment at the time. And then apparently Troy actually got to go back and forth to being Sam and Nolan character. And it was at that point when I realized Troy also did a lot of the motion capture for Nathan Drake. But it's so crazy because, you think it's all Nolan, but he's in his old age. So, it's somewhat harder for him to do because of how old he is. But at the same time, he's fucking ripped. Like, if you actually look at the skin tight suit on his body, you could just see the fucking 12 pack and his arms just fucking loaded with just nothing but muscle. And I'm just like, bro, what? And there's times where I feel like I'm too small for the character. But in reality, all they need to do is rescale me in After Effects. Oh my god, it's funny as shit. But it was that point where I'm gonna go back to the other voice actors story really quick, finish that up. So I am in the booth with Nolan and Troy, and they're like, "All right, kiddo, question rule number 1. Let's see if you can impersonate our voices." I'm like, "Oh, here we go again. No. Okay, sure, go ahead." So Nolan does Penguin. And I'm like, "You were Penguin? This makes so much sense, Nolan." He's just like, yeah, it was. Why? I'm like, "You really are a legend, aren't you? My God." So he goes, "Hello, Batsy. Come upon. What are you doing in Arkham City?" "The money, Batman. The money." And I got to do it right after. He's just like, "What the fuck? You do it so perfectly." And I'm like, "I don't think I do it perfectly. I think I just do it accurately." And he's just like, "Oh, shut up. Stop being humble and take the compliment." I'm like, okay. And so Troy looks at me. He grabs me by my shoulder. I'm like, "Don't kiss me. Please don't kiss me." And he's just like fucking laughing. And you're like, "Nah, bro, I'm not going to kiss you. But I need you to do..." What was the character you wanted me to do first? Because there's so many characters that he did in the Arkham Knight game. And yes, I'm talking about the Arkham Knight game this whole time. And so, he's just like, "Okay, I need you to do Two-Face." I'm like, I don't even remember what Harvey sounds like in the Arkham franchise. He's just like, "Okay, let me refresh your memory. A coin will decide your fate, Batman." That's right. Oh, okay. I got you, fam. And then I do it, and he's just like, "My God, you can do anything." And I'm like, "I don't think that." He's like, "Okay, then try Dick Grayson." "I got you." I actually know that voice because I fucking love that voice. I love how slippery that voice is. And weirdly enough, it's kind of like my anime voice in a sense. "Hey guys, this is Dick Grayson, or Nightwing. I really don't care all that much, but whatever you call me, at least it's Nightwing, right?" And so, then at that point, I got to do a lot more other shit, which is a lot of fun. And then Troy's just like, "Okay, and do Robin." I'm like, "Oh God." I had to impersonate that point where, it was Batman untying Commissioner Gordon from, what was it? From being held down by Arkham Knight's goons or whatever. And so as Batman is untying, Jason, or no, I'm sorry, no, untying Commissioner Gordon, Arkham Knight is behind him with a gun. And he's just like, and I'm gonna do the whole scene because I fucking love it. So this is what happens. "Turn around." Batman turns around. He's just like, "Who are you?" "You have no idea, do you?" Mask lifts up. "Bruce." "Jason?" "Oh, Bats, I may have told a bitty bitty little lie, but look at the boy. Oh, you did good. We did good. You should be proud. What's the matter? The cat got your tongue? I'm a little hurt. Joker, send me the film. I watched you die. Don't lie to me! How long did you wait until you replaced me? That's not what happened. Focus on what you want, and eventually you get it. And right now, I want you dead. Fucking love that. It's like one of my favorite scenes of Batman Arkham Knight. Easy.
Is that in Batman the game or Batman the animated series?
That was the game. Batman Arkham Knight is the game. It's the most recent Batman game, which is honestly perfect game. A lot of people say it's not, but the story was so rich that a lot of people overlooked it. Because, the side missions, they're really, 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 really dependent on who you're asking, and they're really tedious as well, which I fucking love. But I actually beat all of Arkham Knight within one day on Nightmare mode, Story Plus, and I 100% both of them and all the DLCs in one day because I was so fucking bored the previous day. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can fucking time crunch this, and it's on my Steam account. One life. Apparently, it's a fucking Steam achievement, and I had no idea. I was mind fucked. I'm like, what? And it said 0.000.1% of players get this achievement. I'm like, no kidding, because of how difficult the game is. But I've been playing that game for so many years that it's just fucking second nature to me. It's hilarious. So then, back to the story. Troy looks at me just like, okay, sure. And so they walked out of the booth. I'm just like, did I fuck up? I'm always thinking I'm doing something wrong, which is a really good thing for a impersonator because, they give you feedback immediately. But Troy didn't give me feedback at all. He's just like, okay. And he walks out with his eyes just wide open. So I think I did something right. And then the voice actor for, what's his name? For Victor Freeze walks in. And I'm like, I don't know you. And I still don't know his name to this day. I'm not even going to lie.
Sullivan?
What?
Was that Sullivan?
No, the voice for Victor Freeze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking about Uncharted. Where did you hear Sullivan? The fuck? Oh, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. And he's just like, he walks in and he's already into character. And he, like, weirdly is, like, so fucking good at it that his mind is stuck as Victor Freeze for the whole day. And Andrea explains to me, he's just like, oh yeah, he's kind of stuck when he's doing Victor. He's kind of stuck like that. And he's like, gives us the best performance when he's stuck like that. And Mark looks at her and she's just like, that's how I am too. Oh yeah, without a question mark. And I'm like, okay, hi, Mr. Freeze. And here's what scared the shit out of me. He looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, hello there. That is so cool. What are you talking about? And I'm just like, sure. Can I just firmly say I fucking loved you in Arkham City? Okay. Thanks. I don't really know what to say about that, but okay. And he's chill as ice. Literally. That's what scared me the most, is how chill he was. And so, he literally takes the deepest breath I've ever seen a human being take. He goes, and it just came out like, it literally took him 3 minutes to exhale the whole fucking oxygen. I'm like, huh? How the fuck did you just do that? Do what? You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to sound rude. And let's get this over with. He's like, okay, now in that event, try and do my voice. I don't think anybody can do your voice. I'm gonna be dead honest, but okay, it's how I do it. And I'm like, my name is Victor Freeze, and I must save my Nora. He looks at me dead in the eyes. He's just like, no fucking way! And I'm like, well, Dre, I got him the right character. He's like, she's like, no one has ever done that. That is fucking awesome. And I hope so. But so, Victor, I call him Victor Freeze because so cool. Because the moment you call him Freeze, he'll just slowly turn in your direction and say, hi. It's the fucking creepiest, coolest thing a voice actor could do. So then he walks out, and I can hear him over the intercom, and he's just like, this kid is fucking awesome. And I'm like, oh my God, he likes me. And so he hears me, he's just like, kid, you're a fucking rock star. I'm like, I'm literally shaking with happiness. And so a few other voice actors come in. I can't do their voices, which was awesome. I finally figured out what voices I couldn't do. And it was at that point where they finally said to me, okay, kiddo, this is what we gotta have a serious conversation with you. I'm like, oh God, what did I do? And they're like, you did everything right. I'm like, oh, okay. So apparently this whole shit was a formality. And they wanted me to have this role of doing all of the voices that I possibly can muster. And so at this point, they're just like, all of the voices, all the actors that you see in front of you are going to go away on vacation for I don't know how long, that she said. I'm like, oh, okay. And so they said, what we need you to do is come in and fill in for them. Oh, this makes a lot more sense. Okay, sure. And they're just like, are you willing to take time off from school? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to have to ask my teacher and principal. And they're like, oh, we already got that covered. I'm like, huh? Wait, what do you mean you already got that covered? They're like, yeah, we already phoned ahead. They said that you're fine to do whatever the hell you want. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what to say about that, but I was pretty happy about it, which was fucking cool as shit. And that's how I was in Batman Arkham Knight.
So you were in the video game.
Yeah, I was one of the I'm always the guy that's backup, which is a really hard job to do, FYI, because you're doing somebody else's voice and at the same time doing other people's voices side by side, and you have to fucking figure out how to do all of these voices and make them perfectly well timed, which is even fucking harder to do. Mind you, this is probably one of the best things a voice actor can do, because the moment you do that voice perfectly, people will forever know that you can do that voice perfectly. And so I get calls still to this day saying, you know, we're going to be doing something with Joker, yada, yada, yada. Would you like to be Joker or would you like to fill in for Joker? And I'm like, guys, Mark's retired. I can't do his work anymore. And they're just like, oh, well, that's super sad because, you know, Troy's going to be here. I'm like, I'm on my way right now. So, yeah. And it was funny because, you know, when you go and rehearse the lines, you know, I don't really rehearse lines because I don't believe in rehearsing lines at home. I believe in the moment I get there, I automatically know what to say because I don't need a script per se, because when I'm in character, apparently the directors say I do it so perfectly that I don't need a script, which is even harder to do because when you're in the mentality of a character, you get to make shit up on the fly. And because of that, I have known to have that reputation to not only do that, but to do it on all of my characters in particularly, because it's just so much fun and nobody can take that gift away from you, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, cool. Shall we talk about, speaking of Mark Hamill, shall we talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi? And then we'll move on to more topics. And then we will cut the episode because we are recording a 4-hour episode, actually. We're gonna split it into 1-hour parts for you guys to enjoy. But, it's gonna be a long 4 hours for us today. So, it's
Hell
gonna be
yeah, it's gonna
great.
be a lot of fun.
So, yeah, let's talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Have you
Oh
seen the
yeah.
trailer?
I have seen pieces of it. I think I've seen the whole thing, but I was at work, kind of just doing. I work at IT, by the way. I'm. If you want to come down and see me here in LA, I work at PC Mac Tech. I will personally fix your computer if you want me to. So yeah, I was fixing a computer or laptop. I kind of had that going on in the background, so I saw pieces of it, but I think I heard the whole thing. But if you want to sit down and watch it right now, more than welcome.
I think due to copyright, we cannot do it on camera, but we can watch it after the podcast. And we can react to it in the second episode. Or we can
All
do it
right.
right now.
Want to do it right now? Let's do it right now.
Alright, cool. So we're
Fuck it.
gonna pause the episode right here. We're gonna watch the trailer together. And then we'll come
Yeah.
back and yeah, let's do it. Second.
Let's do it, bro.
See you guys in a bit. Alright guys, we are back after watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, so I'm gonna hand over the mic to Luke Skywalker. Please tell us your thoughts.
Nah. How am I Luke Skywalker? Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, I think it was actually really well thought out, and I think the fact that Ewan McGregor, my Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I grew up watching the prequels, and then way later on watched the original movies, the one that Lucas made way back in the 80s. Was it 4 or 5, 6? Yeah, 4, 5, 6. Those movies, and I found it to be quite amazing how Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan. It's fucking awesome. And then I don't know how many years later, but like almost 15 years later, I could be completely wrong about that number, by the way. Please let us know in the comments if I'm wrong about that number. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But 15 years later, he's what? At it again? I've seen this so many times now. We're coming back to that idea of original actors playing their original roles, like what they did for Spider-Man No Way Home, or no, not whatever it's called, Spider-Man 3. You know what I mean?
Yep, Spider-Man No
Where
Way Home.
Is it called No Way Home?
Yes, it's called No Way Home. That's when
Okay.
you see the 3 Spider-Mans. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, the fact that all of those people got to come back and play their original roles was fucking awesome. And because of it, I think we're going to be having a lot of that more as well. And I think for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we're going to have, what is it? Johan, the man that was Mr. Fantastic in the original Fantastic Four movies. Fuck the new one, the reboot, because that was utter shit. The only reason why I watched that movie was because of Kate Mara, because she's hot as hell. I'm gonna be dead honest. And yeah, I think it's funny because we're gonna be seeing this a lot more often. I think because of nostalgia reasons and because of what corporations are trying to do to bring more money into their realm of expertise, is bring nostalgia back. Now, I get that nostalgia comes at a really heavy cost, because when they made Uncharted with Tom Holland, that was all nostalgia based, because they stole a few scenes from the games to make the movie happen. Of course, the iconic point where he's hanging out of the fucking airplane scene. I never saw the movie, so I think that's the only thing I know.
I was
from
actually a bit
Uncharted 3.
disappointed with the movie, just so you know. I
Oh,
was
really?
disappointed. Yes. If you want to know what I was disappointed about, go watch episode 1, guys. It's actually, I'm actually trying to timestamp it. It's already been timestamped, so hopefully it's there. If it's not timestamped, let me know. I'll actually timestamp it for you guys. But there were a couple of scenes that don't make sense.
It was most movies.
Yeah, it's like you bring a character from the game to the movie, compare that with the other character from a different game, it doesn't make sense in the game logic. How this and that and this and that is like, it's basically a reference to the plane scene that you're talking about right now. Everything was good, but not the final shot, I would say, at the end. That didn't make sense because that specific character was not in number 3, the video game. But it is in the movie, and it doesn't make sense because...
Are you talking about Sully not being in the plane?
No. Okay, let me just talk about it, okay? So, Chloe.
Oh, that's all you need to say. Got it.
And it's like, wait a second. In number 3, didn't... You know, like... It doesn't make sense in game logic or movie logic. If you're trying to go for originality, then follow the actual script. Follow the actual game script. Don't put in a random character that you think is cool. It doesn't make sense. But, yeah. I mean,
game
if you were...
is defined by the differentiation between movie and game, because you can only cram so much in a movie, rather you can put so much more into a game, which is really strange.
I mean, we're talking about runtime here, right? So, let's just look at Zack Snyder's Justice League. He didn't care about runtime. He wanted to make a movie. And he did that. And here we are. So why can't they do something similar? I know it's to do with cinemas not having a too long of a movie, but like... You gotta understand, you're putting a character... and they don't do specific scenes, and then this scene is like, doesn't make sense, like, what's going on? But yeah, let's go back to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I think Ewan McGregor is the definition of a perfect Obi-Wan for a lot of reasons, because let's be honest, my guy can fucking throw around a lightsaber all day. But I think that's like the beautiful part of it, is when they cast Ewan McGregor, he knew exactly what he was going into. They're like, okay, I gotta train, I gotta figure this out, and then they shoot it, and I don't know how many fucking takes they did until they eventually got it right. But they did, and hence why Duel of the Fates is one of the most popular moments in all of cinema when it comes to choreography.
And that is a question I have for you. Do you think they're gonna use the trailer version of Duel of the Fates in the TV show? Because that'd be a huge waste if it actually did not.
Well, actually, no. Let me tell you why. It's because it would hold a very specific amount of presence, meaning that it has to be put into a very specific moment into the show. But if it doesn't capture the tone of that moment, then it wouldn't really capture the tone of what's happening on screen. Sound and visual would not make sense. So there's a very little chance that would ever happen. And that never happens at all, by the way. The people that are watching this, that doesn't happen at all. But if that does happen, then they've set the right volume and the right tone for what they're trying to convey in the show. So I'm going to say no.
I mean, you may be right, because didn't the last Star Wars, I think it's called, not The Last Jedi, but the one after that one, the last one.
7?
No, 9.
Oh, let's just say 9.
Right?
Yeah, 9.
They had Duel of the Fates.
The Last Skywalker.
But they didn't play it in the movie. So I think we could be heading to another tease of Duel of the Fates, but we never would actually get it. But yeah.
All right, so basically what he's saying, I want to take this to a different volume. Chat, what he's saying is that when it comes to trailer sound, the sound of a trailer, and the sound of, or the score of a movie, they are two different things. I'm going to be honest.
Definitely.
This never happens at all when it comes to putting the trailer score into the actual movie score. That doesn't make sense, because a score in a movie by itself has to make sure the volume is going with the tone that's in the movie. Not because the trailer is dependent on what is happening in the movie, but the trailer that is defying what's going to happen in the movie. And remember, trailers are extremely misleading too. You know, you think one thing, oh my God, this is going to happen. But in reality, that scene is backwards or something else for that matter. And mind you, every shot in a trailer is completely out of order. That is why filmmakers love to throw people off left and fucking right, because they literally can. They have the ability to, because they want to. And very rarely they will shoot stuff in order and have that in order in the trailer, because there's some filmmakers that do it properly and some people that just love to throw people off. They love to. And then when they finally see the movie, they're just like, this is not what I was expecting. This is better than I expected. What? And then, you know, they get hyped, and then they're hyped about the next movie, yada, 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 yada. So it doesn't make sense what you're saying, Killshot. That makes no sense at all.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is basically the trailer for episode 9 had Duel of the Fates, but it didn't have Duel of the Fates in the movie. So what you're saying could be true, that Duel of the Fates will not be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But saying that, it might also have it, because this is after Revenge of the Sith. This Obi-Wan Kenobi show is after Revenge of the Sith. We saw Luke Skywalker, young Luke Skywalker, and Tatooine.
It's funny. So let me explain to you why they do something like this. Because they want to bring the sound of nostalgia back to something new. And with that in mind, they not only take something older, the great John Williams has completely numerous amounts of times figure out how to compose when he was doing Star Wars 1, episode 1, I will say, not Star Wars 1 back in the 80s. But when he composed Duel of the Fates, let me explain to you this. There is a point in the song where it's just orchestra, right? Vocals. It was first vocals, and then it led into orchestra. It went da 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 da, and then they blend together. And then at some point, it completely loses control and it destroys itself. And then John Williams realized at that point the song has to come back to reality. And so it comes slowly back with the strings and then rewrites itself to a different section, but it sounds similar to what you've heard before. But it's different because of how John Williams conveys this moment going forward right after the break. And so from the break, he can now reformat the song to then re-enhance that moment that is now on screen. And from there, he then goes from a different chorus section, brings that chorus section together, and then it finally comes together when Qui-Gon dies. So, what you're asking is literally impossible to happen. And the reason why the Duel of the Fates version in the trailer sounds completely different than the actual Duel of the Fates song is because they want to give us Star Wars enthusiasts not only the score that we love, we cherish, we adore, we hope to hear it again, but it's not going to be in the show. And if it is, then goddamn, prove me wrong, Star Wars. Prove me wrong. I want it to be in it. I'm not saying I don't want it to be. I'm saying it's not going to be. And I hope I'm wrong. Because the sound is different from the trailer. Beginning is the same. The middle branches off into a far more orchestrette sound. And then it goes and turns and it winds around. And it's not going straight the way John Williams' song was. And it's going around and around and around and around, and it's turning consistently. And it's completely different than actual Duel of the Fates. If you actually go back and you listen to Duel of the Fates first off, and then you listen to the trailer, they're two different songs. They sound similar, their strings sound similar, but the actual end branches are completely different. Hence why trailers are not only misleading, but trailers hold a very, very special place for what they're trying to set tone-wise.
Okay. What do you think of the spinning lightsaber?
Oh, Inquisitors lightsabers. Oh my god. The fact that Inquisitors are now in the story of live action Star Wars. We were first, I believe, introduced to Inquisitors in Rebels, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong. Go ahead and tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm the wrong guy to ask because I sent you what I'm
Exactly.
watching. So yeah.
I didn't really watch all of Rebels. I watched like 5 episodes. I got bored and I walked away. I went back to Clone Wars because let's be honest, Clone Wars is the fucking GOAT. It's going to be the GOAT forever. Period. So, and I think that was a very good a testament to not only what defies Star Wars, but now they're bringing back older ideas and putting them into something new, which is a really cool idea because in reality, remember, Inquisitors were not only in Rebels, but they were Inquisitor siblings that were in the Star Wars game. I can't remember what the fuck it's called. Star Wars. I have it somewhere over there where I think the fans will know what I'm trying to say when I say this. But the thing is that there's so many different types of volumes for Star Wars that we have yet to be defined by what it is. And Inquisitors are completely different volume and texture of richness in Star Wars. And I love how it's now being redefined as something that is yet to now be in. The moment I saw the spinning lightsabers, Inquisitors just hit my mind because only Inquisitors have spinning lightsabers. And sure, spinning lightsabers are known to be completely different than what it is supposed to be suited wise, because the greatest defense is also its greatest offense, and its greatest ability is its greatest defect as well, or greatest effect is its greatest defect. So the greatest way to completely fucking Inquisitor's lightsaber is to not only go in the middle and destroy it from the middle, the end, but they're also used for also lifting Jedis, or I should say Siths, and letting them fly away, which is so fucking weird when you think about it. Who invented this shit? I want to know, so I can actually ask them the question, why? Why do Inquisitor's lightsaber work the way they do? I understand why, but I want to know why by the guy that invented the idea. So yeah.
Interesting. So, I'm gonna round up the podcast with one more question.
Yeah.
Do you have a question or no?
Do I have a question?
Yeah.
That's your question? Do I have a question?
Yeah.
Oh God. What's your favorite Star Wars movie so far? Or favorite thing about Star Wars? That's a better question.
Favorite thing about Star Wars? Actually, I just popped that in my mind. I'm gonna ask you a question now. My favorite is The Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And the question I have is about Obi-Wan Kenobi is, because we know about Revenge of the Sith ending, is there any chance we would see DV?
I don't know who that is.
Darth Vader.
Oh, God, no. If we do,
Because
it'll be a literal miracle.
Because, remember quickly, just remember the actual ending of, of the ending
3?
of Revenge of the Sith. Yep.
Yeah.
Remember it, and then tell me. It is possible.
Oh, it is possible, but I'm probably telling you it's not going to happen because of a lot of legal reasons.
But yeah. Alright, cool. I'm gonna end it right there. So guys, see you guys next week for part 2 out of 4. And yeah, this is part 1 of our episode 3. Next week's gonna be episode 4.
Debug my logic in the comments, please. I fucking enjoy it.
Yep, debug his logic, and yeah, if you ever need an actual computer fixed, this is your guy.
Oh yeah.
And if you need voice actors like him, his contact details, his social medias are already in the link below. So So yeah, go check it out in the description box, and yeah, see you guys next week.
Later, y'all.
Bye bye.
Bye.